Welcome into another pregame episode of the Rubber Match. Excited to be now in a different spot. We're a little more downtown here in Omaha, Nebraska with ESPN's Tye Richardson. Tye, it's been a fun couple of days for the Razorbacks. You don't get off to the start you wanted, but then you rebound in a big way against Murray State. Gage Wood, 19 strikeouts, a no-hitter. First of all, as a guy who went to Arkansas through and through, what was that like experiencing that?
I mean, it was unbelievable. We haven't seen a pitching performance like that. Definitely not in my lifetime. Hagan went 17 strikeouts. You saw Jess Todd do it in 2007. But to see that in Gage's first ever College World Series game as a college junior was remarkable. So it's really hard to parallel that with anything that's happened with this baseball program recently. Maybe there's I know there was people alluding to maybe what Scotty Thurman did in the 1994 national championship game, but that was to win a national championship. This team's got a long way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still a tough road ahead, but Gage is 19 strikeouts. And it's funny because you kind of – we got some LSU fans cheering in the background. It's funny because you have that whole kind of mentality of where the guys were saying in the locker room, yeah, we saw Hagan and we're like, yeah, there's no way anything can top this. Matt Hobbs even echoed that statement. But for Gage to go out and do it, being an Arkansas guy through and through, it's just a little bit more special and something that was really cool to watch.
Yeah, and you mentioned Hobbs did mention it's like, man, I watched that in Arlington, and I was like, I didn't think I've ever seen anything like it. And then Gage comes back and does it this year. So to have those type of performances back-to-back years is awesome. And I know Hagan was tremendous. You think about what he was his freshman year, the success he had in Chapel Hill and Stillwater, to where he had the duration of his career. I know there's a couple postseason games that he would love to have back. Yeah. Gage has been – you think about Gage, what he had to go through this season with the injury, and then coming back, the performance against Texas, didn't have a great outing against LSU, and then to deliver on the brink of elimination. Well, by the way, Evan, they had a 1-run lead and a 3-run lead. It's not like it was 10-0, so it was a tight game for Arkansas, and yet he came through when it mattered most.
Yeah, and you go back to his Tennessee game, like he had no strikeouts in that game. In the Super Regionals, only like 3 or so innings pitched, and you're thinking, man, what's Gage going to give you? You knew Gage had to go for a while. You knew that's what this Razorback pitching staff needed because 4 wins in 4 days, it's not easy, and he delivered in a very big way.
Yeah, what he has done for this team has given them a chance, an opportunity. It's a long road ahead. You've got to win 3 games in 3 days. We've all talked about it. But only now having to use one guy, which even DVH and Matt Hobbs were joking about it after the game. They didn't even expect that. Sets you up for success. And now we'll just see how Zach Root fares against UCLA and how they do beyond that.
And that's the big news as we kind of transition into today, away from yesterday. UCLA tonight, the number 15 national seed. They've got a shortstop who's phenomenal, Rock Chorowski, if I believe I'm pronouncing that name right. He is a fantastic shortstop. But for Zach Root, what's going to be the key to get back on track tonight after a pretty bad outing, even though it wasn't that bad a couple days ago?
Yeah, second inning didn't go his way. Kind of like the game in Hoover where it was just an inning against Ole Miss that you were just kind of surprised by. I think for Zach, it's not to get overamped, and that sometimes happens when you want to come back after a bad outing as a pitcher. It's key to stay composed, and that's what was so impressive about Gage yesterday. Is Gage, what makes him such a good pitcher is he's fire, he's over the top, and yet until the 8th inning, you really didn't see that side of him. He really kept it together. Zach, I know, is kind of that same way. He gets fired up, he gets amped, and that's good. When you get over that level, bad things happen. So I hope, hopefully, Zach can find that perfect balance that we occasionally try to find on the golf course.
Yeah, occasionally it doesn't always work. I want to throw this stat out about Zach Root. Anytime he's had less than 5 days of rest for a start, he's 1-3 with a 7.03-ish ERA. It is not looking good, but look, you had the ball last time, and again, I think if it was a normal start, you maybe would see a little more length out of Zach Root, but because it was what it was, and it's something that DVH has done the entire postseason where it's like, if we're going to get into trouble, I'm going to my bullpen. I'm calling on the guys. You cannot afford to lose that game, and for Zach Root, you might see that tonight again, but you'd like to see that Tennessee version of him that can give you 6 or 7 innings.
Yeah, and how they factor in the slightly, and it was 38, 39 pitches that he had the other night. How they factor that into this is going to be interesting with this upcoming game as we watch. Is that Ben Bobby that just walked by? They win in Omaha, but again, a lot of pitchers like Ben are going to have an opportunity because Zach's not going to go a 9-inning performance like we saw from Gage. So you'll have an opportunity if you're Ben or anyone else to get your name called. I met Colin Fisher here at DJ's yesterday, and I know he's excited about the opportunity to pitch. Guys that you haven't heard from in quite some time, Evan, you might see him later on.
Who's the name? We just saw Ben Bobby walking by us while we're filming this. Again, this is not live. We're pre-recorded. We're having some fun out here right in front of DJs. But who's the name you'd like to see? I think for me, maybe Dylan Carter tonight.
Yeah.
Could be an interesting guy. I mean, it's a UCLA lineup that's not overly explosive. Obviously, one of the best teams in the Big Ten. But still, you're going to have to call on other guys, like you said, because you got to win 2 more games. Even if you win tonight, who are some of those pitchers you got an eye on?
I mean, McIntyre, Parker Coyle. These are guys that you haven't even used. I mean, you got Gibbler still that use up some innings. You've got Fouch to use up some innings. Gackle's probably the only one that is completely off the table tonight, which makes this game not just intriguing against UCLA, but beyond that. Now, the issue is it's like you have to balance it if you're Dave Van Horn and Matt Hobbs, because while UCLA is an opponent that you can't take lightly, the real test lies beyond that, and it's LSU, who, to my knowledge, I don't think you've ever been in the postseason. And if you're going to get by them, you might. I hopefully you won't see Anderson, but you might see Ianson again, considering he only went I think it was 40-something pitches against 44 pitches against UCLA when they knocked it out after the 3rd inning. So something that also has to be, again, contemplated by the staff.
To your point about Gabe Gackle, we got to talk to him yesterday. He said, and I quote, "I imagine me and Root will be back today." So I don't think he'll actually be back, if we're going to be honest, on this podcast, but I do think there is a chance that he's potentially available, definitely tomorrow, if not the day after.
Well, sometimes as coaches, you have to do what's best for the kid, and I don't know, because I mean, like you said, you're the one that talked to him, and we played that soundbite, gave y'all credit this morning, because I was just I listened to that last night, and I was just kind of shocked by that. Yeah. But these are guys, I mean, they worked their entire lives from this. This kid from Aptos, California, when he chose the University of Arkansas, by the way, you know where he was originally committed? UCLA. So I guarantee you he would like a crack at these guys. It's not like there's a bit of rivalry of anything, but, again, a program that he was originally committed to. Yeah. So I guess you can't even throw him out of the mix.
Yeah, I tried to ask him about the UCLA. He kind of deferred from the answer a little bit, didn't give too much, was just excited to get another crack at it. But let's talk about this offense, because I think as great as the pitching has been, and it's been really good the whole postseason, there's something about the offense right now that's just not necessarily clicking. What has to change? Is it an approach change? Because I like Charles Davlon's RBI single. It was the other way. Other than that, against Anderson, again, give credit where credit is due. The kid's going to be the number 2 overall pick in the MLB draft. But what does Arkansas's bats have to change today, if anything?
Well, again, Anderson, you only managed 4 hits against. Aviva got 1, Charles got 1, Kojal got 1, and then Reese hit that home run. Chuck also had 2 hits and a walk yesterday against Murray State. So there's some positive things that you're seeing from Charles Davlon, who might be the best leadoff hitter, not just in the SEC, but in baseball. Aloy got 2 hits yesterday. Robinette got another hit. So some guys that have kind of put 2 games together, which is encouraging to see. You need Quijillo to get going a little bit. That's a point, and I know he's frustrated right now with the way he's hit the baseball against SEC pitchers, and also in the postseason thus far. I think he only has 1 hit, if I remember that right. But again, this is a ballpark, and we've talked about it before. When you get to Omaha, the numerous home runs, the single season record that they've hit, while Reese did get that bomb, you're going to have to find different ways. And you think about the 10 guys they left on base against Murray State. If you do get guys on, they did a fantastic job base running. 4 out of 5 steals. Justin Thomas, 4 for 4. He would be the story if not for Gage's performance. So that's your 9-hole guy. So maybe, while we know Root's going to be the starter, maybe you see some tinkering within the batting order later on tonight.
Wouldn't be surprised. Maybe you could potentially move Kojal up, drop Logan Maxwell a little bit, because besides that error by the left fielder yesterday, he's kind of been struggling a little bit, right fielder, I should say. So that's really interesting, and Ryder Helfrich still got a hit yesterday, so I think he'll get going. But I love your point. You need Quijillo Aloy to really take a step forward. We haven't seen much of him besides getting his 70th RBI of the season against Tennessee, so he's an interesting piece. All right, let me ask you the broad question I always like to ask. If Arkansas wants to win tonight, X has to happen. Fill in the blank.
I think you've got to get at least, 4, maybe 5 innings from Zach Root. I'd be shocked if we saw Zach in the 6th inning based on the number of pitches he's already thrown here in Omaha. And I tend to think, like, Zach, when you look at his season as a whole, in the biggest moments, with the exception of LSU, he's come up. Like, I don't think Ole Miss in Hoover is a big moment. I think about Texas as the number 1 team in the country. I think about his first ever start in Fayetteville, his second start in Fayetteville, where he had a great regional, a great super regional. So typically when this kid's back has been against the wall and he's had a bad start the week before, in this case a couple days before, he shows out. So I think if Zach gets you 4 or 5 good innings tonight and you don't have to use too much pitching, Arkansas's bats, again, have been held down through 2 games. You're hoping that they can wake up, especially against a UCLA team that's used up some pitching and gave up, 8 runs to LSU in the final of the game?
9 runs.
9 runs, okay.
9 runs to LSU. 4 to Murray State, so it's a vulnerable UCLA pitching staff. I was going to say LA, UCLA. Yeah. It's all the same. They're the same city, but let's ask about Omaha. Actually, quickly before that, prediction for tonight. What do you got?
I've got Arkansas advancing. I think the Razorbacks bats finally get going. I really felt like they were going to against Murray State. Yeah. And give Murray State credit. Pitching-wise, they at least got to put Arkansas in situations where they closed them out in innings. Arkansas, again, managed to get double-digit hits in this one, but they just weren't able to bring more than 3 and plate more than 3 runs. So I do have Arkansas advancing, and I'll take Arkansas 8-4.
I like it. I like it. I would say Arkansas. Yesterday, I said I didn't say on air, off air. I was like maybe like 15-3. You show up, but I do like I do like your 8-4. I'll go 6-2. I think they really shut down UCLA. And before we go, we've got to talk a little bit about Omaha and the experience here. What so far has been your favorite part about being back here in Nebraska?
I think it's just the Razorback fans that watch Pig Trail Nation or listen to us on ESPN Arkansas that come up to you and be like, I watch you guys or I listen to you guys. And they're, I met families from Batesville, Texarkana, Longview, Texas. All over, whether it be Arkansas or outside of the state. And that's the great thing about doing something like this is we forget that like people consume us not just on television but so many different ways. So I think it's just when people have talked to us about the game or a player and stuff, that to me is the best part.
To your point, Courtney and I were out doing noon live shots earlier today, and someone's like, Courtney, what's going on? We love you. And it's just so awesome to see the response. And again, got to experience some of baseball ballpark today in the village around there, went on the Ferris wheel, had some ice cream. So those are always cool. And Jello shots, can't forget those.
Let's go. Yeah, this is a place where Jello shots. There are some Arkansas fans that don't take Jello shots all year, Evan, for whatever reason. And when they get to Omaha, Nebraska, they go crazy and they stop by Rocco's and get them 10 or 12 or however many.
You gotta. I think it's all the bucket list stuff that you do when you're here in Omaha. Tye, big thank you for coming on the Rubber Match today. This has been your pregame Rubber Match. We'll see you later or tomorrow with more from Omaha. That's Tye Richardson. I'm Evan Camico. Thanks for watching, guys.